Well, day 2 of the Flying Scotsman tactics, and we're squeezing the pitch a little. Let's jump in and see what I mean. This one is called the Perfect Narrow 4-2-3-1. The description on the video I got this from, again, there's a video, take a look, as always. Explains how they got it, how they created it, why they created it, things like that. But discover the most effective narrow 4-2-3-1 tactic in Football Manager 24. This setup is perfect for dominating possession, creating overloads in central areas, and unlocking even the toughest defenses. So, definitely things we can all appreciate, love, and get to know and use. So, with that, we're going to try it out as usual with our 3 teams of Liverpool and Aston Villa in the Premier League and our championship side of Ipswich Town in a holiday sim, so keep that in mind as we're watching. But let's jump into the Premier League and see how our teams did. Taking a look at the Premier League table, Liverpool doing a fantastic job. 97 goals for is through the roof. Love it. 93 points as well. Aston Villa, though, they get Europa League, but 9th place, 52 points, 58 goals. Not great. But we're going to dive straight into Liverpool's domestic cup run. You could see they beat Ipswich Town 2-1 and 3-0 in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, getting to the final against Arsenal and beating them 1-0. Unfortunately, they're out in the FA Cup 5th round 1-2 to Arsenal as well. But trophy number 3 does come at the expense of, well, Arsenal in the Europa League final 3-1. God, FM loves to do this. So overall, 3 trophies is not bad. The FA Cup kind of sucked, but oh well. Squad-wise, they definitely have green. That is always nice to see. 23 goals for Salah McAllister with 21, 18 for Darwin Nunez, assist 22 for Trent Robertson with 21. Those are pretty nice numbers. And Trent with a 733. But as we switch over to Aston Villa's side, funny enough, they come up against Ipswich in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, losing 2-0, interestingly enough. But they do come up against Chelsea, losing out in the FA Cup semi-finals 0-1. But now there is one more piece of the description that I didn't tell you before, but basically saying whether you're managing a top club or an underdog, this tactic delivers results. Learning the ideal player roles, instructions, and in-game tweaks to master your midfield and attack. Unfortunately, something happened here with Aston Villa. I kind of want to see what the medical center's like. Well, there are definitely some issues here. Martinez out for 2 to 3 months. Buendia out for 10 months. 3 to 4 months for Douglas Luiz. I mean, as we've seen in times past, it doesn't technically mean that they've missed a lot of games, but that is a lot of time out for a lot of starters. So jumping straight into their squad, you can definitely see some of those issues. I mean, Martinez still had 49 appearances, down about 10 from usual, 9 or 10. Who else was it? It was Buendia out, only 6 + 1 appearances. Mings out, only 1 + 2. So they have some players who were injured that didn't get a lot of time on the pitch, unfortunately. But overall, I mean, definitely less than less than the usual sea of green, unfortunately for them. But goals, 30 for Ollie Watkins is still through the roof, 18 for Jacob Ramsey, assists 13 for Digne, Matty Cash with 11, and average rating Moreno gets the highest with 721. Data hub for Liverpool looking pretty nice, no question about it. Just as good in attack as they are incredible defensively. And yeah, you can kind of see it. Goals per game, 2.55 is actually down from some of the higher numbers that we've seen, but still very respectable. 0.71 conceded, 0.83 XG against is pretty nice. Aston Villa's attacking side is definitely lower than what we usually see. We usually see a lot of higher numbers, almost to the tops. Defensively, a little bit down from usual, but again, I mean, they say we are formidable defensively, we are only competent in attack. And as we take a look at the actual numbers, 1.53 goals per game is definitely not as good as we usually see. 1.34 conceded, 1.20 XG against as well. Unfortunately, though, we do have to start on this screen for the Premier League stats. Liverpool, of course, in first, though, with a very nice 2.45 points per game. Aston Villa, however, in ninth with 1.37. But moving on to the heart of the stats, 97 goals in first for Liverpool. Aston Villa went 8th with 58. Fewest shots against, second place for Liverpool, 240. Villa with 328. Most possession, Liverpool making the list with 54%. Best pass completion, 89% for Liverpool, 88 for Aston Villa. And most shots for Liverpool in first with 580, 523 for Aston Villa. But now the standard question comes about, how did Ipswich Town do? It could really go either way, to the top of the list or to maybe mid-range. Well, sadly, fourth place is where they end up. 89 points. I definitely think, as I always say, if you take control of this, do your own match shouts, training transfers, things like that. Don't do a holiday sim that we're doing here. You could definitely at least get to that 92 mark, maybe the 98 mark, depending on how good you are. But unfortunately, in the end, while they made it to the playoffs, they don't make it through the playoffs, and they're still in the championship next season. And sadly, as you can see, they don't even make it out of the semifinals. But on the domestic cup run, we have seen that they did a fantastic job in the Carabao Cup, getting through Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup quarters, getting to the semifinals against Liverpool, and unfortunately losing out there. But FA Cup 4th round loss against Manchester United 1-2 kind of rounds it all out. So yeah, Carabao Cup is really the shining moment of the season. Championship, I definitely think you could do a little bit better. Squad-wise, only 4 in the green, sadly enough. But we get 16 goals for Connor Chaplin. Hurst comes in with 13, not playing a lot. I did notice he did have a pretty big injury, out for I think 3 months thereabout. But 13 goals for him. Assists 19 for Leif Davis, of course. 14 for Marcus Harness. An average rating 7.23 for Leif Davis. On to the championship stats though. 4th place for Ipswich, 1.85 points per game. Most goals in first with 99, not breaking that 100 mark, sadly, even through the playoffs. But fewer shots against in second with 339. Most possession in 8th with 53%. Most dribbles made in 6th with 735. Best pass completion 89%. And most shots for in second with 670. But on to the tactic itself. As you can see, it is squeezed in from yesterday's 4-2-3-1, but starting out with a sweeper keeper in defend, complete wingbacks on the left and the right in attack, with ball-playing defenders in the central spots, 2 DMs in support. We have 2 shadow strikers in attack, completely surrounding the advanced playmaker in support, and then a complete forward in support up front. In possession, attacking width is wide, passing directness is shorter, tempo is higher, low crosses, run at defense, and be more disciplined. In transition, counter-press, counter, distribute quickly, and out of possession, a high press line of engagement, a much higher defensive line, trigger press much more often, prevent your goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, and step up more. But now overall, how did it do for our 3 teams? I mean, it was okay. I'll give you that. Unfortunately, for Ipswich, you're in the playoffs, and you rarely get through the playoffs, and you don't even get out of the semifinals. But you're close enough to the top that I think if you took control of this, as I said before, you could definitely try and get to that mark of second place. And I think it's technically doable. But now the other part of this, as I continue on to the Premier League sides, the Flying Scotsman said in the video itself and in the description of the video that you need to get your players into these positioning to make it really effective. And it's kind of one of the things with all of these tactics. If you really have a tactic you love, then you need to get the players to actually fit into the tactic. Get the shadow strikers up front, get the players that are capable of doing that, the complete wingbacks. You need to get the players that actually fit those molds specifically. The other option to that is get your team and then kind of create a tactic based on your team and see how it goes from there. But in these cases, we're talking about the tactics themselves, generally not the teams. So we're kind of going that route. In this case, Liverpool doing a fantastic job, 93 points. They usually do. They do a great job. Aston Villa having some injury woes. 52 points is kind of on the lower side. I definitely think that could be brought up if you're able to manage the injuries and things like that. But still, just grab the transfer market, grab some players that fit into these roles specifically and can do an amazing job. And I think you do a lot better with all of this. But here, it wasn't too bad, I gotta say. But that's it for me, Sevian FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.